Hello, and it's episode 10 of Cup of Tea with Gio and Gonzo. Gonzo, got your cup of tea there, have you?
I do. It's freshly made. It'll be scalding hot. I'll have to give it 5 minutes before I drink it, I think.
Just got home from the West Brom game. I finally made it home.
Yeah. Yeah, you did, didn't you? Overland and Sea. There was a film, Planes, Trains and Automobiles. I think that was you for the West Brom game.
Over Hedge as well. Did you get your message from West Ham today?
Did I get my direct message from West Ham?
Yeah, on Twitter. Did you get your direct message from the club today? Remember, watch our video, money off, etc. Have you got your advertising today?
No. They've not.
Like you.
I'm waiting for the payment. To be perfectly honest with you.
I got mine on my own account and Hammer's chat when I got it, so I get it twice. I got it twice. The club. Well, it's FA Cup weekend, or for West Ham, it's a different kind of FA weekend. We're not really doing much, are we? Without plugging any new shows, Gonzo, what have you been doing this weekend?
This weekend, I've been watching. Sorry, mate. I've just. Do you know what? Excuse me. I just dropped something. Beg your pardon. I just dropped the name of our competition, our competition winner on the floor, or on the toilet floor, as some would call it. This weekend, I have been mostly compiling humorous clips of Tottenham fans singing, people wearing full kits, people wearing red shirts into ball rings, and just generally doing stupid stuff, compiling them all together and being a bit sarcastic while watching it, basically.
That's a weird hobby of yours. Well, while we've been doing nothing, the West Ham have been in Dubai. Have you seen that photo that's come out today? I think it's got Masuaku, Reed, Fonte, and Byram in a line with like a bib on, etc.
No, I only saw the one where Ginge, you said, didn't you? You said it was Heisenberger from what's that thing called? Breaking Bad. He did look a bit dodgy. Yeah. It was a dodgy hat. I don't know who was. Maybe it was for Adair or something. I don't know who was his fashion advisor. Not that I can talk, of course. I didn't see the picture of the one today.
Well, I seen the picture earlier. Do you think that's maybe our back four for Watford? Would you like to see that back four against Watford?
Who did you say it was? Byram,
Reed, and then Masuaku.
I think that would be a little bit. No, I want to see Cresswell in there. I know he's not been perhaps at the form of last season, but I would get slaughtered by my son if I didn't say Cresswell. And I like Cresswell. Cresswell's a very, very good player. Masuaku started well, didn't he? But then he had a couple of nightmares. But I think that might have coincided when the team was playing badly as well. So I don't think it was all his fault. I wouldn't boot Cresswell out just yet.
Well, let's talk about Masuaku, I suppose, because there was, in the week, as soon as he was back in training, there was an article in from papers and that saying that we're going to try and offload him in the summer, getting back to Greece almost. But would you be disappointed to see him?
Yeah, I would, because I also saw a story which had us linked with Paris Saint-Germain's third choice left back. And I just think we're in a lovely situation with the left back that we're not in with the right back. We've got a very good number one and a number two who is, you're even asking the question of whether he should be having the starting role. That's how good he is. So we're in a very, very rich position with that. And no, I don't want to see us get rid of him and then bring in the third choice at PSG. I actually want to see us bring in someone so as we've got the same level of competition on the right-hand side.
I'd be disappointed to see him go. I know you said he had a couple of bad games. I think he's only had one, and that was West Brom when he decided to punch the ball for some stupid reason. I don't know. Only he will know the answer to that. But apart from that one game, I thought at the start of the season, I thought he was one of our better looking players. And that while we were playing crap and weren't doing much, he was the one that was coming out with 7 out of 10s, if you like. And I was like, this guy, he's not good looking as Creswell, but he's only 20. I think he's only 23. Isn't he, Masuaku? He's only 23. I think you have to remember that. I think he's got 3 years or something on Creswell. I think he's a really good young talent, and I think he could go on to become better than Aaron Creswell. I'd be very disappointed to see him go. I'm really disappointed, especially when come the summer we've spoke about it before, but despite his poor form, I wouldn't be surprised if a bigger club comes in for Aaron Cresswell. And if the bid was far too big for us to turn down, having Masuaku, who's got decent experience behind him at the club, etc. Well, I don't want to see Cresswell go, but I think we have to be prepared now that clubs like us are going to be a target for the big boys. Where if we're snooping around the top 7 or 8 coming out of the season, clubs are going to be looking at like us and Everton, thinking, who are performing for these clubs? Who is it that's putting them there? Liverpool need a left back, so 2 and 2 together, making 5 maybe. But I do worry that Cresswell is going to be in the summer.
Well, and he touched the "This is Anfield" sign, didn't he? Which a lot was read into it as he walked through the tunnel. It's the tradition. They walked through the tunnel, and they had to touch the "This is Anfield" sign. When we did a tour of Upton Park, if you remember, I tried to do it with a West Ham one, but I couldn't reach it. It was too tall. But yeah,
you can't even reach your ceiling. You can't even reach your ceiling to change light bulbs.
I know. I'm standing up now. Yeah, so I think a lot was read into that, and I'm not sure how much to read into it. But in all honesty, it sort of pulled me in because I thought, hold on, I'm a bit worried that he might leave. So yeah, I really like him. And I think it's important to have a core of British players, and I don't mean just British players. I think Font is, bearing in mind he's played pretty much his whole career in England and he speaks impeccable English. I think that's fine, don't get me wrong, but I do think it's important to have a core of people that understand the league. And since we lost Tompkins, yeah, I wouldn't want to lose Cresswell. So that's why I like the recruitment. Snodgrass coming in.
I wouldn't lose him either, or Masuaku. But going back to my original question, I do wonder if that's the back four Bilic is going to play against Watford, and that's why we've seen them in training with the bibs on, playing as a back four in training preparation. It might just be Bilic assessing his options, and perhaps at the other side of the pitch he's got Cresswell, Ginge, and someone else. I don't know, but I just wonder. It's like someone's took a sneaky pick and put it up. It's like, oh, hang on a minute. I was maybe reading too much into that. I wouldn't blame Bilic giving Masuaku a chance at left back. I wouldn't blame him at all. Cresswell hasn't necessarily been on form. But speaking about from injury, there's someone who's still injured. Well, we're not sure, and that's Andy Carroll again. It's not clear. It's not clear. Are you worried about the words coming out of the club?
Well, I wasn't until you just mentioned it. Then I've not.
It's a similar thing to what happened last time. You know, David Gold says, you'll be fine, but unfortunately, David Gold doesn't know anything when it comes to injuries. So times I've seen him bang out tweets and he's incredibly inaccurate, etc. But when you read on the site, he mentions about how Carroll was injured for West Brom. They're trying to get him fit for Watford. They're just saying, oh no, not again, not this again.
Yeah, it is a worry, bearing in mind what happened last time and what you said. There was it seemed like he was constantly going to be ready very, very soon, and that very soon actually turned into a couple of months, didn't it? He's a vital cog in the wheel, you know. So I do wonder if I hope there's no smoke and mirrors. I really hope there's not. I was just under the impression it was just a knock. He almost made the last game. He didn't quite. Was at West Brom. He didn't quite make that game, and then and he was going to be fine. So I'd be disappointed. Did he go to Dubai?
Yeah, he's in Dubai. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'd hope he's gone. They've done a little bit of light training out in the sunshine, haven't they? So I would hope.
I think that's a good sign he's there. But then again, on the other side of the coin, Sacco and Ogbona's out there, and we ain't going to be seeing them for a while. So the first team physios have gone out there, and they thought, well, you're going to have to go as well, because if you want the best sort of person looking after you, you need to get on the plane, etc. But I think it's good to see the whole team out there. I know Lanzini's away Argentina to see one of his family members and stuff. But it's good to see that they've took Sacco and Ogbonna and Carroll, the ones that probably might, well, they're not going to be playing against Watford. It's good to see them taking them anyway and having a team. Do you like this warm weather training?
I don't know.
I
know it's really cold here, mate. To be fair, I would.
Well, did you see it rained? Did you see when they went over there? It rained all 4 days or something.
Did it? No, I didn't see that. I find it hard to feel sorry for them, to be fair, bearing in mind they've jetted over there. They're probably eating in 5-star hotels and having a jolly nice time. If it works, then it's good. If it doesn't work, it's like I said the other day, it is our winter break, isn't it, really? So because we don't get through to the latter rounds of the FA Cup, West Ham don't need a winter break when they discuss it whether the Premier League should have one. I don't think we're the only club that's jetted off. I think there's others that have gone to sunnier climates as well. So I don't mind. I don't care. I don't think it matters either way. I don't suddenly think you're going to turn any corners just because you've been training in Dubai rather than Rush Green.
Yeah, I'm not convinced by it. I just think it's all expenses paid holiday, and said, "Oh, we're going to work harder out in Dubai." I think, well, why did you have to go to Dubai to train harder? Why can you not do that here? And I get, in a way, it's probably that you're in their family environment and moving them away so that the players just have to be together for 5 days straight. They've got no other option. Check with Kiai doing his dancing and stuff. So it looks like they're having a good time and it's going well for them. Another striker, though, Andy, not a West Ham, well, kind of a West Ham striker, Zaza scored his first goal for Valencia today. Did you see that?
I saw lots of people saying that Zaza scored. I've not seen a goal. And until I see Zaza score a goal, I refuse to believe it. I just think there's people writing about it and saying it. I don't believe it was a real, actual goal. You sure it wasn't somebody did on the Xbox or something?
The funny thing about it was he got put through one-on-one and he scored. But before the ball hit the net, Zaza was on his arse. Fell onto his arse or something. There was something very Zaza about it. Just like, all right, okay. Well,
he actually kicked the ball into the net.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he finally got his first goal of the season, apart from the one for Juventus against us in the friendly.
He was probably kicking it out for a throw-in then if it hit the back of the net.
I'd like to see it close up in case he scuffed it and fell over or something. But before the ball was in the net, he was on his arse, so I think he kicked it and slipped over or something like that. There's something very Zaza about it. I've only just seen the one clip. But another striker scored, a West Ham one yesterday. Tony Martinez scored and then hobbled off injured. And that doesn't sum up West Ham in the space of 15 minutes. I don't know.
No, I saw it as well. I didn't see the injury. They went down the left-hand side, the ball came across, and it was very much a poacher's, because I think it then, did the keeper push it out, something happened, the keeper or defender got something on it, and he timed his run, he was snipping, he was poaching, and he finished really well, but back in the direction which the ball came from. So I thought it was a very neat finish. How bad's the injury?
I don't know. I just seen the clip of him kind of getting like arm around the physio, vice versa, limping off the side of the pitch. It wasn't stretchered off or anything, but I suppose we'll have to wait and see for that one. But it's good to see him scoring. That's just, he scored in both FA Cup games now. One was against Newcastle, the other one's against Middlesbrough. So in terms of confidence, that's going to give the kid the biggest boost possible. His celebration, he was just, you could see how much it meant for him to score for. I know he's only playing for Oxford, but you could see how much it meant to him to score in the FA Cup, and it was the equaliser at the time to come from 2-0 down to equalise to 2. I mean, I've seen a clip of the Oxford United fans in the away end. They were still celebrating to make it 2-1 Middlesbrough. They were still celebrating the first goal. The second one went in, and it was just people went mental and stuff. So can you imagine being a kid and he's still quite new to the country. I know he's been here about coming up to a year now, but scoring the equaliser at Middlesbrough, running over to your fans, etc. Like his confidence must be through the roof right now.
Well, and he was scoring for the development squad, of course, before, scoring loads and loads. Scored in his debut, as we know, in the previous round of the Cup. So I think you're right. I think his confidence is going to be sky high. Clearly, he's got some talent. The really good ones, they do score at every level. And then, they do that. They get through the youth. He scored a hatful in Valencia, because that's where he came from. An absolute load in their youth setup. Comes over, scores a load in our development, and then he's gone on loan to a lower league side, and he's scoring goals for them as well. So he looks like one of those players who possibly could score at every level. I'd like to see him included in the first team squad next season.
Well, I think he's got a kick on in the league, though. They played Southend last week. He didn't do anything to note. So he needs to sort of bring that FA Cup form into his League One form. But he'll be buzzing, a huge occasion for him. It's not something a lot of our strikers have done this season, scoring in against a Premier League team. Other loans. So I want to talk about the loans because obviously the Martinez one's successful. It's working. Happy days. Fantastic. It's not working. There's a few I want to discuss tonight. Predominantly, this is what the core of the video is going to be about, I think, because yesterday Marcus Brown put out a couple of, like, I think it was Snapchat. He put up a picture of himself and it says something like, just want to get back to London, to be honest. And then someone says something to him and he says, oh, just wait till I'm back in London or something. He's had a couple of digs at Wigan. Do you think it's a waste of time? And he wasn't even on the bench at the weekend.
It's a complete waste of time. There's absolutely no point in somebody going out on loan if they're not going to play. Now, we know that there's a whole load of lower league teams, a lot of whom are struggling for finances. Some of them struggle to even get sort of 18 people in a squad. With that in mind, I think it's really important that the correct club is chosen and where these players go to. And I'm not surprised he's having a pop at Wigan. I think because I think we signed. Did we sign him from Arsenal or someone like that? We brought him in. He's not come through as a 9-year-old, Marcus Brown. I think he came in from somebody else, maybe Chelsea, Arsenal, somebody. Can't remember exactly. So I think when you come into a Premier League team, particularly when you come from a big established Champions League club, you're probably thinking, okay, I'll get more of a chance at West Ham. Now, whilst he'll understand that he's not going to immediately threaten the West Ham first team, he's certainly going to think that when he goes out on loan, he's going to get some games. And particularly if he goes to Wigan. He's quick as pants, by the way. He looks a real talented kid. I know you like him yourself. And, yeah, I think he's got every reason, whilst, maybe popping it out on social media is not the wisest thing in the world, in all honesty, but I do think he's got every right. You're going to be dejected. Do you know what I mean? I would be.
Yeah, I think Brown's been with us for about a decade now. Actually, I think he's been here he's been here for a solid 10 years. The thing is, though, I think they've picked the wrong club for him. I think Championship club that's in a relegation battle. It's the club, Wigan, are going to have serious balls to put an 18-year-old kid in that first team and say, you keep us up. I think you're going to have a little bit of bollocks to do that, because whether they're good or not, you're going to be leaving out seasoned pros. They might not be good, but if you're going to bench a 29, 30-year-old who's been and done it in Championship or whatever, put in a kid who's had like 2 first team appearances for West Ham United or something in the Europa League, something like that. If you're going to bench him, because I think one of the Wigan, I think he's Obertan or whatever, that old Man U Sunderland winger. I think he's one of the wingers at Wigan. If you're going to bench someone like that and put in a kid roses out of joint, so I think maybe he went to the wrong club. But it's just a waste of time having him there. He's not even on the bench. It's just a complete waste of time. In Brown's case, I think we're better off in our under-23s learning to play with Nathan Holland, who we've just signed, and he probably hasn't met properly yet. He'd be better off just gelling with what we've got and knocking on Bilic's door and saying, come on, Slap, get me on.
Well, no, I agree. And you have to assume that because we're a bigger club, we have better players than Wigan, so it stands to reason that we have better coaches. Well, if all he's going to be doing at Wigan is staying on the training ground, he might as well be at West Ham training under better coaches. So, yeah, I mean, it's not worked out. I'm sure he's not the only one you're going to mention, because I looked down the list when I was compiling. There was that article when I was doing my video yesterday, and I sort of concentrated on Cullen and concentrated on Martinez, but I looked at a list and there's quite a few that haven't played recently, which I'm sure you wanted to discuss, didn't you?
Well, it's his teammate at Wigan, Burke. He has been playing, but he was on the bench the last time out. He didn't get on. And then Samuelson at Peterborough, not getting a game time. He's just not getting game time at Peterborough. Unused sub again. It's just, I know I've said this, I'm genuinely worried that he's just not going to make it. I'm worried, out of all our youngsters, if you said to me who's not going to make it, who's not going to live up to the sort of potential we think he's got, I'm putting my money on Samuelson. Right now, I think Samuelson will be the one player that everyone will think, if only.
Yeah, I mean, it's a strange one because a lot of these guys that don't quite make it, they don't get international recognition. Now, this boy has played for the Norwegian national team, the full team, not the under-21s, not the babies. He's played for the full team. So clearly he has some talent. Also, the weird thing is he's been at Peterborough before and was one of their main guys. They were absolutely raving about him. When he was there last time, they were talking about him being a future £20 million player. So I don't know where this has gone wrong and what's happened. In fact, there's an article I was reading it today in Blowing Bubbles magazine. There was a big thing on Samuelson in there. I was reading it and I was thinking, well, what's got funny up there? He is. I don't know if you can see that one there. He was featured before. I mean, everyone thought he was going to do something.
Does it worry you? Does it worry you that they've discovered something? Maybe it's his attitude in training, or he's just getting whacked off the ball whenever he's on the pitch because he's quite fetch or a big guy, bulked out already. But then you've got Samuelson, who like, I've never seen him close up. He looks quite skinny.
Yeah, but he's tall. He's a big boy. Funny enough, I have seen him close up. I know he said, do you know what I mean? A hobbit is tall compared to me, but he is a big boy. He's 6'1", 6'2".
Yeah, so, yeah, he may be tall, but he's still lightweight. He does look off the ball. You go, mate.
A little bit. I can't think it was. I mean, Oxford looks more slender than he does, so no, I don't think it would be that. He was, in fact, he looked like he could handle, even when he was a year younger, like he could handle the hustle and the bustle of playing against sort of grown men who have filled out. So no, I don't think it's that. Am I worried? Yeah, slightly concerned, because I thought he was the one. He would have been the one that, if you'd asked me a year ago who's going to be your breakthrough player, who are you looking forward to seeing, sort of light up the new stadium and all that, I say, not only would I have said that, I'm pretty sure if you troll through the videos, I probably did say that.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the other guy you've mentioned there, Reece Oxford. He's another guy who's unused stuff. He's not played a minute yet for Reading. What's your thoughts on him over Darren's Championship side?
Exactly what I just said about Brown, but worse maybe, because Brown doesn't come with the reputation of being a future superstar, having the label of, as we've said before, when 442 or whatever bring out their magazines and they say the top 10 up and coming teenagers in world football. Brown is not burdened with being in that group. Reece Oxford has been since he was 14, pretty much. So it is a worry. We were excited because he was going over to join Jaap Stam, who is a defender with a lot of pedigree, and it seems to be a good club. We were excited there because they play good football. It's not a million miles. It's not a million miles away, of course. So I mean, Reading is obviously just on the outskirts of the M25, really. So yeah, I'm really disappointed. That one more than anything. I was going to go and watch him play. Reading is 20 minutes away from me. I was going to go and watch him. I was going to go there, take the camera, do a little Reece Oxford watch, and then let everyone know he was getting on. So yeah, it's very disappointing. But no one will be more disappointed than him.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic to see how he's getting on, warming up constantly. But actually, I'm the opposite of you. I actually think I'm fine with this one. And I'll tell you why. There's a difference turning up for training at Wigan, perhaps, compared to turning up to training at a club like Reading with the mentality of we're going to achieve promotion. With a manager like Jaap Stam, I think him being in an environment different to West Ham and a culture that he should be used to non-stop, it will be fantastic for him. I think he might not be learning anything better, different. You know, their methods will be different. They probably train longer than West Ham. They probably train. He's got no right, zero right, just like Brown doesn't. But Reece Oxford's got absolutely zero right to walk into that Reading side. That Reading side are fourth in Championship for a reason. It would be a nutter to sort of break up well cohesion defence and put a kid in there. Especially when you're not that far off promotion to the Premier. He'd be taking a huge risk, and I actually think it's good. It's not good, but it'll teach Reece Oxford I think, you know, you come down to Reading, you come into the Championship, you'll learn what it's like in a different environment. You'll learn from Jaap Stam, etc. You'll sit on the bench, and if you get your chance, you take it. But he's got very good, experienced defenders there at a different level to what we've got. We've got Winston Reid, etc. up there, and Reading have still got good level, but they're still experienced. They're still got a lot of knowledge. I think he'll learn differently at that club. I'm actually quite chilled with him being not getting a game at Reading, because who are crap, Reading are in touching distance of the Premier League, and they've got a lot to lose.
Yeah, but that may be the case. It may be better from a training perspective and an experience of growing as a man than a Brown situation. But it was still, I'm still pretty sure there would have been a conversation that was had when Reading came in, that they would have assured West Ham. I bet they said, we can't guarantee him game time. I'm sure nobody does that, but I'm sure it was hinted or insinuated that if he goes to Reading, the whole point was he'll be in a better position than he was at West Ham, and there'll be a chance of playing, and he'll play. And if the reason he's not playing was because they're challenging for top 4 or whatever position they're in, then maybe we should have selected a club a little differently. Maybe we should have put him with somebody who's not going to be worried about relegation or worried. I know it's quite difficult to pick those teams out. And if that was the case, then drop him to League One, where actually he is going to be better than even the most experienced defender, because he probably does need a bit of game time. I mean, the thing about Oxford is he's very young. We are not talking about a 21-year-old here. He probably can't even legally have a glass of wine yet. So, I mean, he's a young man. And I just feel that with people like that, like with Rio went out on loan. Jermaine Defoe went out on loan to Bournemouth, broke the goal scoring record actually at the time. There's a lot of people who have gone out when they were young and skinny, but they still go out and they still do it. So whilst I accept what you say for maybe a month or two, if we get to the end of the season and he hasn't played for Reading, it's been nothing but an abject failure. I don't care how hard he's trained or what experience he's had.
Maybe a longer term thing. They might be looking at, if you don't come up this season, you can have Reece out there for another year, etc. He can legally have been now, though. Remember, he has turned it. Dobson's been getting some game time at Walsall. He's someone I'm quite intrigued by. The club seem to rate him quite highly, but he's just not put in the spotlight as much as the rest, probably because he's just not an attacking midfielder. And then Howes is still doing well over whatever this game. But let's talk about our current player. Did you see Antonio's comment in our interview about a new deal in regards to the summer deal he's going to be getting, Antonio?
I did. I can't say I fully remember them. They're about it not being talked about yet and leaving it until the summer and there being no hurry. Was it that was the sort of thing, wasn't it?
I think he said we'll see or something. He got pushed with what you saying it, and he said we'll have to wait and see what happens.
Well, as a West Ham fan, you're always worried when you hear things like that, aren't you? You do. It's just naturally you think, oh my goodness, he's going, he's off. I would hope not. We love him. He starts every game. He's well respected by the fans. We sing songs about him. I hope he doesn't go. What I do know is that if we did sell, and this is what I was talking about with Payet, if you make a situation, okay, there's an old saying, what is not stopped is encouraged. And we didn't stop the Payet situation. We let him go. So what it has done, even though we didn't intend to do it, it's encouraged and created a situation whereby there is a method and a means by which you can leave West Ham United. Now, I don't think Antonio would do that. I mean, he's got more about him as a person. He's just a nicer bloke and he's more grounded. He didn't become a professional until quite late. So I'm not saying that. But what I do know is from West Ham's point of view, if we were to lose Payet, regardless of what you think about him, Snake or whatever, was our best player and probably the best player we've had in some years, and then we lost our top scorer or whatever you want to call him, Antonio, in consecutive years, all this stuff you would have to then put that to one side. I always talk about not selling our best players and selling the people that come from the academy. You'd have to say, well, actually, to be fair, we've sold James Tompkins, who came from the academy, sold Dimitri Payet, our best player, and now we've sold probably our best scouted player in recent years, which you'd have to say Antonio would be. Bearing in mind he was scouted from the lower leagues, comes up, and if that was to be the case, I'd imagine he'd go for 30, 35 million or something like that. I think then all the talk stops. Actually, we are still a selling club, and that's the case. And basically, the honeymoon is well and truly over. So I don't think he will go. We've got to offer him a contract. He's got to sign it. But it's big drama if he doesn't.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to play D. To sign a new deal, you're going to give me top whack. I am your top goal scorer. I want the same amount of money that everyone else is on, which is supposedly also just keeping his options open, because at the end of the day, who can deny him if Man U or Chelsea did come in for him? While we don't think he's obviously going to think different in England's squad now, and he's hustled and bustled and worked his arse off to get to the Premier League. Why would he stop here? Why would he stop? He's come from the bottom of football of English football. He's at West Ham. Why would he stop at West Ham? Why would he say, okay, this is me done? Of course you're not. You're going to keep going. You're going to think, I want into the Champions League club. I don't think he'll go either. I don't think he's good enough. But unfortunately, every player's got his price. Thought that every Chelsea man you wanted him and came with a checkbook that there is a price that I go, actually, yeah, I would take that. It might be a ridiculous price. It might be 40 million. But, well, let's put it like that. Would you take, say, 35? Would you take 35 million for him?
No, because I'm not confident he would be replaced by somebody else that would be the top scoring winger in the Premier League. It's always the case. Some people get blinded by the glare of this money. This big price, 40 million. Well, what are you going to do with a 40 million? All right, granted, we might have spent it okay with Snodgrass, bearing in mind, whatever we paid for him, 10 or 12, whatever it might be, or Fonts. But, we've yet to see whether that's good money or not, really. They've only played a handful of games. No one scored a goal or, kept a clean sheet or whatever, So, but they do look decent. I just don't think you can guarantee that money is going to be spent wisely. And then you can't keep pulling these rabbits out of the hat. You can't keep going down to low league. Oh, do you know what? Okay, there's 40 million. We'll go and get the latest equivalent from Nottingham Forest Academy, or like the guy Everton look like they've done it with the Lukeman. His name's Lukeman, I think. They signed him from Charlton. They look like they've got one there. But you can't keep doing it. It's not going to keep happening. You'll get as many that fail as you do that succeed. So no, I wouldn't take 40 million for him. I think he's more value being in the team.
Yeah, well, I think every player's got their price though, but we can maybe do that on a different cup of tea. We'll try and work out what price everyone is, etc. The opinions will be good on that one, actually. I think we're getting a lot of trouble by our viewers for it as well. When I say that, I don't know, I'll leave that for that show. Adrian, the club still haven't triggered his 2-year extension. I've been waiting for it, but they've still not done it. Do you think they're going to?
Yeah, because it gives them financial security too. I don't know how much he's on a week. Do you know?
No, I don't guess at 30, maybe grand a week or something. That's just a pure punt, though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think hardly any of us know what anyone's wages are. We all guess, don't we, really? I would imagine that if he were to be sold, you'd get 5, 6, 7, 8 million for him, something like that. So I think it's wise to extend his contract just in case in the future they wanted to sell him.
Yeah, I just think it's weird we've not done it yet. It's sometimes too much smoke without fire. He's been linked with him months now, and I don't know. Part of me wonders if we tried to sell him in January and there just wasn't a sniff for him, and they think, well, no one wants him for 5 million, then let him go for free in the summer. Because if we trigger that 2-year thing, no one wants him for 5 million. Try to say they're stuck with him. You can always get rid of him for free anyway, but you're tying yourselves into 2 years. And if they are genuinely wanting Joe Hart or a other keeper, which seems like it, if you trigger Adrian's extension, you can't go get another keeper until you've got rid of Adrian or Randolph. If you've got them both on your books and you've just triggered that 2-year thing, you're handcuffing yourself. Because then if say we do it now, come the summer, if Liverpool wallop in a £10 million bid for Joe Hart or whatever, we're thinking, oh, hang on, we wouldn't mind getting involved in that, but we can't until we get rid of one of these two. Sort of strain ourselves if a keeper is our genuine target.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be tough to decide on Adrian, because he is a crowd favourite, and we like him, I like him, and it's good to have the two keepers of a similar standard. What I would say, West Ham have a recent history of doing contracts in clusters. Now, I'm struggling to think of examples, but I just think it's true. I seem to remember people signing contract extensions all in close proximity. I remember Cresswell, Kiate and Reed all bang signing contract extensions at the same time. Sorry, say again, mate?
It seems like every summer the current owners are thinking, right, you've had a good season, here's your rewards, we move on. It does seem like that's what they do.
Yeah, I don't think it's a bad policy either. I know we've discussed it with Bilic's thing as well, and I know maybe you should safeguard it, but I think it's a long time since we lost anyone on a free that we didn't want to. Maybe Demba Ba, but I don't think we had an option on that. I think he had a dodgy knee. We had to buy him, and he had a relegation clause. I can't remember too many others. I think we've hedged ourselves pretty well. I think when Diarme, we picked him up on a free. Even then, he had a clause for 3.5 million. So I think the owners are quite shrewd with money. So yeah, I think that the policy of renewing in clusters has obviously worked for them, because we do tend to pick up transfer fees. It also, you think about it, it wasn't too long ago, and I do mean not long ago at all, when we didn't seem to make a profit on a player at all, ever. It seemed like everyone we signed was worth less than the money we signed them for, and those days are gone as well. So I'm pretty sure that they'll safeguard and do something with that. I don't think there's anything sinister.
Yeah, one to watch, I think, because like I said, I've been expecting us to trigger at any point, and we've just not done it yet. And the clock's ticking. I don't know what the rules are. You might know. Obviously, usually when you've got 6 months to go in your contract, you can talk to other clubs via the Bosman ruling. You can go speak to other clubs, etc., and try and a club like we did with Nordveit and Faguli to an extent. But I don't know if Adrian can go do that or not, because we've got that 2-year option. So he could go, if he was able to go do it, he could essentially go speak to a club, and then for us to go, actually, cheers for letting us know that you want our keeper, here's our 2-year thing, you want him, you've got to pay for him now. I don't know if he's allowed to. Do you know if he's allowed to legally discuss options with clubs or not?
No, you're right. I don't know the rules. I don't know. It is a good question, actually. I don't know how an extension option alters that at all. I'll tell you something, though. I bet it annoys the player that if he doesn't know what he's doing yet. But unless we know he is eyeing up someone else, I don't know. I think you're right. I think it is watch this space, actually. It is an interesting one that's going to run a bit. It won't be the last time we talk about it before the season's end, that's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think it is unfair on Adrian. I think he's been a good servant to our club. I mean, it was this summer that he was in the Spain squad. I think he deserves a bit more respect. I know he didn't get a cap or nothing, but we're dealing with someone that's essentially now Spain's third keeper, and we're sort of, maybe he does know what's going on. I don't know. Maybe there has a conversation has took place where it is a case of you're going to go at the end of the season on a free, and he's going, yeah, that's fine, thank you very much. We don't know, but we're discussing this before the end of the season. It's nearly time for Q&A time from the live chat. So start racking your questions in. I'm going to have a little watch. Gonzo Stadium Tour. Right, guys, we did a Stadium Tour video, and we're giving away 2 pairs of tickets for the Stadium Tour. Gonzo, I asked you to pick a winner earlier, and I was going to pick a winner.
Yeah, I didn't pick the winner. Jakey picked the winner, and I'm sorry, everyone. He literally ran his finger up and down the screen, and there was one of them that had a little red icon, and it's Jeff Blackman, and he wins 2 tickets to the tour. Now, what Jeff had actually said was that he's a hammer himself, but everyone had to pass comment and say why they wanted a ticket. His wife is a Man United fan, boo, but he thinks if he takes her on a stadium tour, he can convert her. So good luck, Jeff, and enjoy the day out, mate.
Well, hopefully he enjoys it. And now my winner I picked was Joshua Earl. And the reason I picked Joshua is because he said he's going to take his dad. So I went through the comments, and everyone that said they would take their dad, I wrote them because essentially it's because of my dad that I support West Ham. So I thought, right, okay, I'm picking out that reason, and I put him on the hat. Joshua Earl, you two get in contact with us. Email us, hammerschat@gmail.com, and we will get you your pair of tickets over to you for free. Enjoy the tour and letting us know how it goes. While the questions are coming in, Gonzo, because I think it affects us in a knock-on effect, and that's Clattenburg's away to Saudi Arabia to referee.
Is he really? Oh, that's a shame.
Have you been under a rock?
Listen, it's been half term. All right, the kids have been off. My daughter has been doing a show in a theatre, which has been, she's basically every night this week, plus she's done a matinee and an evening performance. Each show's about 3 hours. I literally have been under an absolute rock this week. No, so anyway, so he's crawled to his rock. He's crawled out from his rock, has he? And he's going with his tail between his legs to Saudi Arabia permanently. He's off the Premier League referees list, is he?
Yeah, but it's not tail between his legs. The geezer was giving a press conference. He was over in Saudi Arabia giving a press conference. He's getting paid £500,000 a year now. But do you not think though we underpay our referees, because he gets 100 grand. He did get 100 grand a year in the Premier League, right? I think it's not enough. I think we're paying top whack for TV money. We're getting the FA are getting a fair share of TV money. There's a lot of money now, but yeah, our referees are still getting substandard wages. And I think that we start paying referees top whack, performance related as well, but to try and get the best referees, trying to sort of drag the standard of refereeing up.
Right, well, I've seen it go from part-time referees, and I've seen them go full-time. I've seen them go from literally a pittance. So £100,000 a week, £100,000 a year is a lot of money. Bearing in mind, they don't pay for travel, they don't pay for their grub, they don't pay to stay over. The hotels are paid for. It's pretty much 100 grand pocketed as well. If I do think they should be paid more, I certainly don't think it should be the FA that pays it. I think it should be the Premier League that pays it, because the FA, I don't even know what the FA do anymore, but they certainly, comparatively to the Premier League, don't get the money. So I think the Premier League should be paying into that referee pot. I don't think giving them 200 grand a year is going to give you twice as good referees. They train full time. They're fit. They're fit as fiddles. They're the fittest Premier Leagues in the world, the Premier League ones, because they're full time. They get to train full time. They've got top fitness coaches. No, I don't feel sorry for them. They've got no excuse for being crap, and doubling their wages is not going to make them any better, in my opinion.
Right, let's have some questions. Metal Core in 95 says, do you think Nordveit will get a chance in centre midfield / do you want to see him get a chance in centre midfield?
No and no, I don't think. I think the times are gone now. I think now we're out of the cup. I don't think he's going to be experimenting with anyone there. I think, if anything, he's going to be trying to work two out of Obiang, Noble, and Kiate into the middle, and if not, it'll be Fernandez. I think he's going to disappear off the radar, Nordveit.
I don't think he's had a chance. I don't think he's had a fair chance yet, and a chance, unless someone gets injured or something like that, I don't think he will. He might get shoehorned right back for a game or something. Nordveit's time at West Ham is not up yet, unless a silly money bid comes in for him in the summer. And when I say silly money, it's not necessarily 10 million. It's cheaper than that, but we'll wait and see. Billy says, what's priority next season for you? A European Cup slot? I know your answer to this. My answer is the same as yours, so I'll let you answer it.
Billy, I just want to win the cup, mate. I always want to win the cup. I'd love a bit of glory. We had a lovely thread on the forum during the week about Leicester, and I think Leicester have really lived the dream. They might be suffering a bit this season, but they're league champions. No one to take that away from them. I'd love to win a cup, day out at a cup. That'd be absolutely brilliant.
Amen. Big Bear says, do you feel sorry for Antonio playing out of position? Obviously, I think he's referring to the West Brom game, since Carroll was out, Antonio was up front as sort of the main striker rather than as a lot. Do you feel sorry for him?
Hello, Bez, mate. No, I don't feel sorry for him. I think he's done really well. I think he's played in a number of positions. I would like for him to play as a winger most of the time, but I don't feel sorry for him. If you'd have said to Antonio a couple of years ago, you'll be playing in the Premier League, but when you're there, you might have to play sometimes at centre forward, sometimes on the wing, and a bit at right back. I think he would have taken it. And when Sacco comes back or Carroll comes back or whatever, he won't be. Maybe even I don't think he'll be playing out there. So I think it's short term.
I think he's his own worst enemy. I think his versatile. That is just his. It's a strength for a manager, but as a player, it's actually a weakness in a way that it's a sort of, right, I've got these 11 players, I'll put these 10 wherever's left because I know you will play anywhere and you can play anywhere. But I actually like him up front alongside Andy Carroll. I think it's sort of not quite big man, but he's got the pace, he's got the hard working ethics of what a traditional little man gives you. And I like that partnership, actually. I really like it. And feel sorry for him, but it depends on how Antonio feels. If Antonio doesn't like it and he's frustrated playing there, then yeah, I do a bit, because it's like I said, he's his own worst enemy sometimes. Riley asks, do you think Quina? I don't know. Charlie knows how you say it.
Quina, that's chicken dinner.
Yeah, well, Riley asks, what's your thoughts on him? But before Donald said he was at the family fun day last week, and when asked by the kids, one of them asked about the to push Quina, Hina, whatever, more than any of the other players. So he thought that meant. What's your thoughts on him?
He's my new Samuelson. He's the exciting one. He's prodigiously talented, very, very skillful, low centre of balance type of player that we all traditionally like to see at West Ham. They rated him at Chelsea. Chelsea did not want to lose him. Very, very small, very slight, but long pass, can shoot. He's good. He's really, really good. And it's just going to take... He's been on the bench a few times as well, as you'd all know. So it's going to take a little bit of bravery from Slav. But I do think... He reminds me of somebody at Chelsea, again, was called Gael Kakuta. And looked like he was going to be the best player in the world. It never really happened for him. But Quina looks very, very good. I'm excited to see him play at West Ham.
I'm excited as well. I remember when we had that window, Dave Sullivan, kid. Dave said, our best signing we do this window, but you're just not going to see it for a while. And that's always stuck up there. But I've not seen enough of him yet. Simon wants to ask, do you think Sam Byram is good enough?
Cool, Simon. Blimey, Simon. Put me on the spot. I don't know yet. He looks all right. I'd still like to see a sign. An experienced right back. The jury's out for me, Simon. I found it very hard to jump on the bandwagon. Everyone got very excited straight away. I need to see a little bit more. He needs a run of games. I can't judge him yet. He needs to have a run of games before he gets injured. I want to see him play 10 games and then Simon jump back on and ask me. Certainly seems to have a talent. It was a huge relief when he became fit and he played on the right, because we needed a right back, and immediately the team looks more balanced. I hope so. I really do hope so. I still think we need a senior right back, although not quite as senior as Arbeloa.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think he's good enough, just not yet. I think it's worth investing a lot of time in him. I think it's worth investing in a lot of faith in him, just not first team faith. You're our only right back, just not that far yet. Somewhere in the middle, but just give him time, stick with him, and sort of iron out his weaknesses. I think there's a lot of potential there. And Metal Corey asks, this is a good one actually, because I know your thoughts on these players, but I think I know your answer. Who do you think will be a better success at West Ham, or Faguli?
Who or Faguli?
Snodgrass.
So I think Snodgrass will, because I think I think they want to cash in on Faguli by all the noises that I'm hearing. I like Faguli. I think Faguli, in many respects, even though Snodgrass had a good start, Faguli's actually shown a bit more than Snodgrass for me, and he seems to be getting on the score sheet again. But having said that, I think Snodgrass will, because I think Faguli's going to get sold.
I think Snodgrass, because I think he'll get more opportunities, and Faguli's just easier to drop, unfortunately. But I do these predicted 11 sometimes. I think there's 2 or 3 players in each 11. I think Slav has no issues dropping you. You know, Fernandez, Faguli, no matter how good you play, it doesn't matter. Slav will drop you if he needs to. You know, you can write down Noble. You can, you know, I think he was happy to drop Lanzini as well. But I think you can write down like Antonio, Noble, Reed. He just won't drop them. But when it comes to other players, I think Slav will drop you. And Faguli's one of those players, I think. Slav will drop you. But Snodgrass, I think, is more in the category that Slav just won't drop him. But he also takes all our set pieces now. And his deliveries against West Brom, I had to watch Match of the Day to remember them. But his deliveries against West Brom were fantastic. You know, he will score at least one this missing everyone, and the keeper's just standing there going, oh, bugger, it's going into my back corner. Steve says, Sacco, will he make it?
Will Sacco make it? Yeah, I think he will, Steve. I think Sacco has been injured a lot. Andy Carroll gets a bit of a reputation being injury prone, make no mistake about it. Sacco is also very injury prone. I do think, though, that Slaven seems to have been liberated. He mucked around with that 3 at the back. And I think now he feels brave enough. Now we're free of relegation as well. He feels free enough to play with 2 up front. And I do think we'll see the best of Sacco if, and it is an if, I know that, Andy Carroll and Sacco can be fit and they play as a front 2. I think they could be really, really effective. And there's not many partnerships in the Premier League these days, because most people just play with 1 up, and I think they've got every chance of being one of the most effective partnerships. Actually,
I would like to see him sold. I just don't trust him. I just don't trust his record. I think I've always said you can have one injury-prone striker, you can get away with one as long as the other strikers are good enough to replace him, and you won't miss him so much. I think Carroll or Sacco, I think both their deals are up next summer as well. Side very soon, even this summer. Which one we're keeping, if any? I think it's a risk to keep 2. To hand them both another deal would be risky, and you're sort of stage now. We're wanting to go to the next level. We're going to have to start getting ruthless, and we're going to have to start cutting some of these players out of the picture a little bit, and that's Ginge. That while I say that you can have one injury prone player, I know you're a big fan of Sacco, so you can make a case for it being Sacco actually, whereas I will make the case for Andy Carroll because I prefer Carroll myself. But you know, if he comes back, I hope he does well, etc. But I would just like to see him gone in the summer. But the owners need to replace him. It's simple as that. The owners have to then do their part. If he is out the door, they have to do their part. But that's for another show. Victor, will Sturridge be here next season?
Oh, Victor, I hope so. We've just been talking about injury-prone strikers, actually, mate. I think it's that next level up that Gio was just talking about. That, as I've said on many, many occasions, I think you get, because of his injury record, I think you get Sturridge for 25 million. But his talent, really, he's a £50 million striker, and I think that's the sort of level we need to be going up to. Your question wasn't will I like him? No, your question was will he be here? No, I'm sorry, I don't think he will.
Do you want him here though?
Yeah.
Do you still want him here?
Yeah.
I'm no to both. I don't think he will be here. He's far too expensive, he carries, in my opinion. But as I just said, you can have one injury-prone striker. To have 3, if we don't, I'm hiding under this desk. I will not. But you know what's going to happen though? As soon as that window shuts, all 3 will be injured at some point, and we're going to have Antonio back up front, and we're going to be doing a cup of tea going, it's unfair, Antonio will be up front because Sacco, Carroll and Sturridge are all injured.
We'll be saying, why did we sell Antonio for 40 million? All our strikers are injured. He was versatile. We should have kept him.
And Zaza scored 10 for Valencia. What's going on here? Pick 3 kids that's out on loan. I want to get rid of the on loan part. Pick 3 kids will have the best chance of making it or are most likely to make it at West Ham.
Cullen's getting rave reviews. I had a look at Cullen in close because I did the video a couple of days ago, and I had a look at Cullen. I think up until recently, at the last 17 matches, he'd won man of the match on 14 occasions. I mean, that's impressive, regardless of what level. That's very, very good. Having said that, I just think midfield is going to be very, very hard for him. So, my youngsters, I am going to go for Martinez, I'm going to go for Oxford, and I'm going to go for Huina. That's Queen.
I'm going to go for Cullen. I'm going to go for Cullen. I'm going to go for Burke. And this is hard, isn't it? This is a hard question because I young players because he's not played enough yet. Oh my God, this is difficult, right? While I'm thinking in my head, people are watching this. Put your comments below. What 3 you think will be making it? But I'm stuck. You almost have to say Oxford. You feel like you have to say Oxford, don't you? It's almost like Oxford is one. Who's your other 2? But main 2. Brown. I'm sticking with my boy. I'm sticking with my.
It's
more because I'm stubborn. It's just because I'm stubborn. I think going by what comes out from Terry Wesley is about Brown, about how he's one of the best youngsters they've ever seen, etc. I just think there's too much this. If you're public as a coach, you're going to come out and speak. You're putting your reputation on the line a little bit, right? And that's why you deserve to bet youngsters rather than say, yeah, they're going to make it. This boy's got it all. Because if he flops, you're going to look like a mug, and you're the guy that's coached him. He must have something. But that's a bloody good question, a bloody hard question.
Just on those comments quickly, when Gio says put them below, do put them below. Don't put them in the live chat because the live chat is going to disappear in about 2 minutes when this show does, and we want to be able to read it afterwards. So put them in the comments underneath on the YouTube, please.
Keeps them in the live chat, and they're all different. Everyone's got different players in there. Cullen, Quina, Martinez, Oxford, Burke, Brown, Samuelson. Last Mike says Samuelson. That's not what none of us mentioned him, but to be fair, we mentioned it earlier. Gonzo, shout out your new show. Tell people about your new show.
The new show is called Newsbeat. What I need, it's a show for everybody, basically. What I need are funny clips, not just funny, it doesn't have to be funny, actually. It might be something that's really, really got on your nerves. West Ham related clips or funny clips that have come through on social media. And then what I'm going to try and do is collate all of them and put them out in a show. So I did my first show. We did our pilot the other night. And I mean, there's some real funny stuff, and people have already started to get in contact with me. Particularly, people seem to particularly enjoy. I can't say the word because my kids have just said, but the full kit people, if you know what I mean. People seem to particularly enjoy the full kit people. So I've been getting lots of pictures about that. Kiate dancing, any sort of clips like that. People missing sitters or anything that you think is newsworthy in the world of West Ham, then I'm basically going to be reporting on it and put it out there. It's not breaking news. You'll get your breaking news from everybody, all the other news sites. We're not trying to do that. We're just trying to have a little bit of fun. That's basically what the show's about.
Yeah, it's nothing. Boats. If you attend our boats, if you don't, it doesn't matter. Listen up. You can register your interest for a season ticket on our boats next season on the forum, hammerschat.com. Come along there. And also, we are bringing something back to the park. Been trying to try things for a while on the boats, but we've got a lot of things to comply with, a lot of people to go through, and we're bringing back pie and mash. It's happening. We're just got to cut the eyes, and pie and mash will be back in the Olympic Park. So you can keep up to date with the news on that on our forum and on our social media. And actually, this is quite a good question from Old Ass Mike. He's just jumped in at the end there before we bugger off. But it's a mini campaign that's going on right now. Luke Malden's kind of one that's forefront today, and that is bringing Old Ass back. We was talking about bringing pie and mash back, and Old Ass Mike, don't know if he's got a connection to the fanzine, has said, what do you think about back?
Well, funny enough, Luke actually called me during the week before he started his campaign and phoned up and said he was going to do exactly this. And I interviewed Gary last year. It was on, we've got a, believe it or not, we've got a SoundCloud channel somewhere or other, which we hardly ever use. And I did an audio interview with Gary last year. So, I mean, everyone loves Gary. Everyone loves Olas. Olas was my... It was a tradition, a real tradition of going, getting it, reading it on the way home. And not only reading it on the way home, I did tend to read it for the next week afterwards as well, story by story. And there was a lot of really good writers in there. And I often wondered what happened to those writers. I know Nigel Khan is always kicking around as well. And I just think it's an awful waste if it's not out there. I just want to know, though, I'd hate him to go for all this and then for Newham Council or somebody to basically kick him off the streets and say you can't sell it outside the stadium. Do you know what I mean? So I hope he comes back. I did speak to Gary and he said he didn't want to come to the new place. But I think if he's having second thoughts now, I think he needs to be welcomed back and embraced back, and everyone needs to let him know that he is wanted and he is welcome, and we do miss him. Funny enough, I saw him at Tottenham away. So he's still going to games. He hasn't felt that he could come to the Olympic Stadium. So yeah, those are my thoughts on it. Love Olas. Great fanzine.
I never really read it that much but like when I was little, my dad used to take it up to the park. My dad always used to buy it every single time we went down, and he would always go to the next guy along. Out just down from there for a Gary stood, and he used to buy as much old fanzines as he could. My dad would only go 3-4 times a season, so he'd try and pick up as much of the old ones, and we'd just sit and read them for ages. Because that was back in the day when internet wasn't so prominent, so he didn't really have as many forums, etc., to go on. There was no online fanzines or stuff, so he kind of had to. That was his sort of West Ham opinions, if you like. Once and just go read through them, and it was keeping me entertained for ages anyway. But yeah, so I would like to see it back. It's like a childhood memory for me, Olas, more than anything. But it's just something that you associate with Green Street. Well, you've got your smells of Green Street, but you've also got the audio, and that is part of the audio, going down there and hearing him in his cellars. And Mike Olas is saying he used to sell for Gary. So going down Green Street, that's what you used to hear. You used to hear, about getting your programme, get Overland Inside, you used to hear it all. That's part of the whole connection to Westfield for me. So it'd be fantastic to see it back, but it'd also be fantastic to hear it back as well, to come into Westfield and to hear someone shouting about Bayer, Overland and Sea and stuff. I think hopefully it happens, but it's a big ask right now. It's a big ask, but fingers crossed. Anything else you want to say?
No, just quickly on that, when we had this meeting, we had the meeting with Karen Brady, which we've spoken about, probably spoken about it too much, but I'll bring it up now because this is pertinent. When we were in the meeting, I actually asked Karen directly about the badge sellers, the scarf sellers, and all the rest of it. And I said, what's happened to them? Is there any way of getting them more involved? And she said, look, we don't actually own the stadium, the surrounding area. She said, what used to happen down there? She said, you could basically rent someone's front garden out for a few quid and sell badges out of it and stuff like that. She said a lot of the pitches out the front of the Olympic Stadium are done by the company, the catering company. I know Mark, the rib man, has had to jump through a lot of hoops to try and get his ribs in amongst that lot, and that's with the club's assistance as well. And we started to look into some of these pitches, and Westfield have quite a lot to do with it, and they don't particularly want people selling around. So I just hope if it does happen that they are assisted by whoever it is, the Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park or Westfield or somebody like that, because when I looked at the price of some of these pitches, you're looking at $2,000 and stuff like that, which is obviously just going to be completely prohibitive to anybody wanting to. So you'd have to sell a lot of fanzine or a lot of badges to make that back before you made any profit. So yeah, they're just worth considering.
Yeah, just before we bug it off, make sure you subscribe to our channel. I just want to say sorry. Some of you said my internet's been crap tonight for some reason. My internet been crap for you, Gonzo. Apologies for that. Must be the Scottish connection.
It has been really bad, mate. Yeah.
Well, apologies for everyone that's watched for that, but thank you for sticking with us. Cheers, Charlie, for running the chat again. But we'll be back. Well, this week we'll have the preview for the Watford game, discussing in more detail about Masuaku. We'll be discussing Andy Carroll. Hopefully, we'll find out if he's back or not. And, well, we've got a horrible record against Watford, actually. Troy Deeney's just freestyling his motivation to thump us 4-2 at our home place, so hopefully we can get revenge on them. But join us next week. Hit the subscribe button, stick around. We'll be back at some point with a cup of tea. Best to check out the forum at hammerschat.com when that is. And until next time, say goodbye, Gonzo.
Goodbye, Gonzo.
It's no more funnier than it was the first time. It's goodbye from me. Thanks for joining.